Named by countless publications and popular polls as one of the greatest movies of all time, this action-adventure film from acclaimed director Steven Spielberg earned more than 21 times its $18 million budget following its release in the summer of 1981. With this near $400 million cume, Raiders ranks among the top 25 highest-grossing films ever made when adjusted for inflation. Besides its impressive commercial success, though, the picture was also praised by critics, scoring 9 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, and it won for Best Art Direction, Film Editing, Sound, and Visual Effects, with a Special Achievement Award for Sound Effects Editing as well. Harrison Ford portrays Indiana Jones, a ruggedly handsome archaeology professor who embarks on dangerous quests to obtain rare artifacts. The whip-cracking, fedora-wearing hero is perhaps Ford's most iconic role, which, given his extensive filmography and near endless string of successes, is saying quite a lot. Conceived from writer George Lucas's desire to modernize the Saturday matinee serials of the 1930s and 40s, the 115-minute story sees Jones hired by the US government to track down the famed Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis can get a hold of it. It's a plain old good versus evil narrative, but the PG-rated film excels because of this simplicity. Ford imbues all of the trademark characteristics of the confident and invincible hero, and in fact he never once loses his hat during all the excitement. He portrays this iconic protagonist with humor, charm, fear, vulnerability, strength, anger, and faith to create a multifaceted character all audiences still love rooting for 35 years later. When pressed for details regarding an ambitious rescue plan, he simply barks, "I don't know, I'm making this up as I go." Although he'll be 75 years old when filming commences on the recently announced 5th installment, he's so perfectly cast in the role, I wouldn't have it any other way. As his romantic foil and ex-lover, Karen Allen holds her own and brings a great deal of warmth and purpose to the otherwise narrowly focused script. Their chemistry is contentious, flirtatious, and believable. Paul Freeman and Ronald Lacey are featured as the bad guys, and although they're generally uninteresting, they deliver just enough personality and threats to make their villainous personas stand out. Plus, the latter has one of the all-time coolest on-screen deaths in movie history. John-Rhys Davies, Denholm Elliott, and Alfred Molina do marvelous work in supporting roles as allies and untrustworthy guides. The problem-solving, clue discovery, and character interactions in Raiders of the Lost Ark are all excellent and surprisingly entertaining, but obviously the real bread and butter are the action set pieces. Chief among them is a legendary cold open that famously ends with Ford outrunning a massive boulder he accidentally booby-trapped. Later, he chases after a Nazi caravan on horseback, knocks out a bunch of soldiers on board a truck, gets dragged beneath the wheels, and climbs back up to finish the job. The 6-minute sequence is pure, unadulterated fun. The classic components of what makes a great action movie boil down to its essential components. It may not be the biggest or most expensive scene, but its brilliant execution, careful pacing, impressive stunt work, incredible sound, and easy-to-follow choreography make it a textbook example of how to entertain. For my money, this self-contained chase may very well be the best scene in action movie history. Spielberg's direction throughout the movie is sharp and steadfast, using long takes and deep focus to show off the large sets and fantastic production design. A foray into the snake-infested Well of the Souls is photographed with tall shadows and warm firelight. Audio pioneer Ben Burtt's inventive work with Foley recordings gives the feature some incredible and convincing sound. A majority of the punches and body blows, in fact, were created by hitting a pile of leather jackets with a baseball bat. The visual effects are kept to a minimum until the picture's climax, where Industrial Light and Magic continues to impress by visualizing the intangible. From the playful whimsy of The Basket Game to the romantic and tender Marion's theme, John Williams' score is a true masterpiece. The titular Raiders March is one of the most recognizable pieces in cinematic music for a reason, a decidedly defiant and powerful anthem for a thrill-seeking hero. It also served as my ringtone for most of my mid-20s. The only real criticism I even have about this film is that our protagonist is largely inconsequential to the developments of the plot. Almost everything would have played out exactly the same with or without his involvement. Indiana Jones is ostensibly a bystander to his own movie. This nitpicking notwithstanding, the film has proven to be incredibly popular and wildly influential, spawning 3 sequels, a prequel, a television series, over a dozen video games, and plenty of merchandising. Even Indy's hat and jacket are on display at the Smithsonian Museum. It may not have any broad thematic message or emotional depth, but it's near-perfect filmmaking just the same. A believable and thrilling experience on every viewing. I simply cannot recommend this movie enough. In a career filled with Oscar victories and box office hits, Raiders of the Lost Ark remains Spielberg's magnum opus and the quintessential adventure film. Now let's see what you had to say about it. You use words like classic, best, and masterpiece, so it's no surprise everyone rated this a 10 out of 10. That does it for this quick excerpt, but if you'd like to watch full episodes of Movie Night and submit your own reviews to be included on the show, please visit the Jogwheel YouTube channel. My name is Jonathan Paula, thanks for watching, and have a good movie night.